Welcome to the Further North podcast, your weekly dose of the North Melbourne Footy Club. My name is Josh, and this is a fan-run podcast doing match previews, reviews, and everything North. Let's get it started.
Look at Archer come in and go bang! Nathan Thompson gets the fist pumping and goes pops over that. We're heading to the finals.
Guys, I don't want to talk about it. Do I have to talk about the game? I guess we do. The reign of terror for North Melbourne is over. We officially can't go 23-0. I know, I get it. It's disappointing, and in our hearts, that's what we wanted. But we're not going to go 23-0 for the season. But I guess 22-1 could do. But look, we'll consider that later. You guys know the deal now. We're going to break down the game. We're going to have some fun. Sean Atley, club champ, all that good stuff. But what I'm going to talk about first off is the response to the podcast. Now, the podcast kind of blew up this week. It was really weird and really cool. Last episode got about 2,500 listens on YouTube, Spotify, Apple combined. That is not something I ever thought would honestly happen. One night, I think it was a Wednesday night, I got like 400 views on YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, do people like my podcast? And I looked at all the stats and everything, and you guys love it. So thank you so much. Anyone who's joined, anyone who's here from, week one, I love you guys so much. That actually made me very, very happy. And yeah, it's cool to know people like listening to me talk about North Melbourne. So thank you very much. Don't forget, follow everything, Instagram, Facebook. I'll put the word out for Q&As to get your questions in, which we'll read out later. And we have some fun. Secondly, stay tuned to the North Melbourne Closer to a Flag Facebook page. I know you guys are probably already there. Going to be some announcements, hopefully around the Good Friday game. Nothing we can say yet, but get on that. Listen here, you'll find it if you care about it. So North Melbourne Closer to a Flag, Further North Pod on Facebook, on Instagram, and you'll get all the Good Friday updates with hopefully some fun things. So stay tuned. Let's get into it, though. We've got a couple of dot points before jumping into the game analysis. Jackson Archer signed a new contract throughout the week. Takes him through until the end of 2024, I think. That's cool to see. He did have a great preseason, but obviously has been stuck in the VFL so far. I did see a little clip of him talking about the contract extension, and basically he just said he sort of overworked himself, which is interesting. You can work too hard in life, guys, so don't try 100%. That's basically what I've learned this week from Jackson Archer. Hopefully he comes back into the team soon. I do like him. But yeah, that's a cool little announcement. George Wardlaw on the weekend in the VFL. I mean, look, how good has he looked the last couple of weeks? Maybe not going to be called up just yet, but would have been nice without LDU and Simpkin on the weekend. But we got time, guys. Relax, okay? We're not winning the premiership this year. Maybe. And my only other dot point I've got here before we jump into the game, Caroline Wilson. Now, you guys know I've had my beef with Caroline Wilson. Not that she knows that, but I'd actually rather keep it that way. I don't like her. I've never liked her. She's always hated North, and she's always hated Clarkson. And if you guys saw on Footy Classified about a week or so ago that she said that Clarkson running up and down the sideline, celebrating with the players, doing the holding the ball sign, which was bloody hilarious. She hated it. That is the only person in the football media that could turn something that good negative. Please don't listen to what she says. She got me through the week. She made me angry, and I responded. But don't be as bad as me. Hold yourself to a higher standard, because everything she says is dribble, and she's the most biased journalist in the game. Anyway, that is all about Caroline Wilson. Before I take up too much airtime, I'll probably put her in the thumbnail for the podcast so people click on it. But look, she's the worst. She's the devil. Okay, we do have to talk about Saturday. Now, I did get cocky and call this a percentage booster. I didn't mean that, but I do partially blame myself for even muttering those sort of words. But I did think this was a bit of a danger game. The Hawks had something to prove going into this, and did they prove it? Now, the team lineup we didn't get much change from the week before against Fremantle, which I was fine with. I mean, the only change we did have, obviously, Simpkin getting his one-match ban. So Darcy Tucker came in, and then Howe got promoted to the starting 22, which I'm sure we'll get to. That was the only change. I was fine with that. I mean, look, we did say maybe last week Howe maybe not play, but Clarkson went with that again, and Clarkson knows more about football than me apparently, so I'll trust him. Then we get into the game. Positives and negatives, guys. I've written a little list here. So should we start with No, we'll start with positives. I thought our ball movement was pretty good. In the patches that we did move it well. We're still linking up better. We're running together. We're stringing chains of handballs together much better. I thought our ball movement when we had the ball was okay. Was pretty good. When we had the ball is the preface there, but you know what I mean. Griffin Logue. And we'll come to Griffin Logue because, well, let's do it now. 1 match suspension for Griffin Logue for rough contact. Now, I get the bumping thing is a touchy subject for the AFL now. He bumped the guy in the chest. It was no high contact. He got straight back up and he's been given a week. That's trash. I hope North appeals it and he plays on Good Friday because we may see 2 forwards kick 10 goals apiece next week. But Griffin Logue in this game was fantastic. I love Griffin Logue, and I did say at the start of the year, I think this guy is going to be our biggest signing by far. And he's, look, not that there was many of them, but he's really proving that. His intercept marking is fantastic. Attacking the contest, and I think he's pretty clean with the ball. I love this guy. So he was fantastic in the game, and once Mackay comes back, I think that's going to be a pretty good 1-2 punch as our key defenders. But, yeah, a 1-match ban, which I hope North do appeal for the Good Friday game. My next point here is Sheasel's ground skills. Sheasel, full stop, but he's so clean on the ground, unlike some other players in our team. He picks the ball up. He seems to have time to make a decision and execute it very, very well. It was his 3rd game of football. Like, this guy is better than half our team, which is terrifying, but we'll get there. Sheasel, fantastic. I loved his game. He was a bit quiet in the first half, but when Clarkson sort of brought him into the game more, it made us look so much more dynamic, and he's already becoming a really crucial part of what we do. So, yeah, well done, Shees. Love your work. Charlie Comben. This was his best game, I think. Look, I know he had 11 scoring involvements against West Coast, and he was a little bit quiet last week, but he clunked a few big marks in this one, and he kicked a goal. He should have had a couple. He just impacted the game really, really well and gave Larky a good chop out, who was a little bit, Larky was obviously a bit quieter, but yeah, Charlie Comben, fantastic game. That's what I love to see, and I hope every week he sort of builds on it from now on. I know the Hawthorn defence was a little bit weaker than maybe the other teams were going to come up against, but loved his game. That's what I wanted to see from him, a response to maybe his quieter week last week. Let's keep it going, Chom. I think the biggest point out of this game was probably the fight back. We did get within, 3 points, I think it was. There's no way we're bringing any game back last year. And this is my biggest takeaway from the game is we came back and we got ourselves in a position to win this game when for definitely the first half of football, we were awful. We fought back. We got within a few points. Powell had that chance running into the 50 to kick the goal. And if that went through, who knows what could have happened in the game. We're not fighting back in years gone by, guys. And I think that's the biggest thing to take out of this game. And my last point for the positives is trust the process. And I had to remind myself of this after the game. If you saw my Facebook and Instagram posts, I said it was very, 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 very poor. There was a lot of veries in there, and I was fuming after the game. After I slept, woke up, read a few of the viewer comments, and I was sort of like, you know what? If someone said to me that we were going to start 2-1 this season and have an away win at Fremantle, I probably would have taken it. And the signs we've shown just for being a better football team are huge. Sheasel's unreal. We're linking up together. We're trying to hit targets in the forward 50, even though that was lacking a little bit last game. But you know what I mean? The improvements there. We're 2-1. We're still in the 8. That's pretty good. Disappointing game, but let's throw that game in the bin and we're going to move on. We came back. It was just better. And I hope you guys all think that too. I think we all were emotional. We were throwing things all over the joint on Saturday afternoon. But hopefully we all have woken up on the Sunday morning with a calmer head. When you guys hear this, it'll be Monday morning. Hopefully we're all good. We're back into the working week and we can relax and take a breath because we did fight back. Okay, negatives. There's more negatives than positives, unfortunately, guys, but they're small dot points and we don't want to bring anything down too much, but we have to analyse the game. We got dominated from clearances, and the only thing North Melbourne's been good at the last 3 years is clearances. I thought last year we were pretty decent getting the ball out of the middle. We just had absolutely nothing to go to forward, and if it got turned over, we had nothing going back. But clearances are usually our strong suit. LDU as a late out obviously hurt us a lot, and Simpkin. So the thing to remember is our two best midfielders were out, but we got dominated, and it shouldn't have been that much. Goldstein and Cunnington were in there. I mean, look, Phillips has only played a few games. There's excuses to be made, but I don't want to be that guy. We got dominated out of the middle, and that's usually our strong suit. The Hawks also bounced it off half-back so easy. And they locked it in their forward line once they got it in there. We couldn't get it past our forward 50. I thought we strung some play together to get it up the wing and through the middle pretty well, but we just could not get it past our 50. And once they got it into theirs, we couldn't get it out without them scoring. It felt very much like last year in that aspect. So hopefully they're back to the drawing board with that. But yeah, it was a little bit concerning with such a young list with the Hawks, how much they really did dominate us and the possession, you know. We then converted to the old 2022 or David Noble game plan of don't look when you kick the ball, just kick it forward and hope someone takes an incredible hanger. And if not, then we're pretty much screwed. We were just bombing the ball long again, and it was really bad to see, and we got into the habit of it again. So from the first 2 weeks of linking passes together and moving the ball sort of quickly up the field and hitting targets, that was pretty disappointing to see. But I'm sure there'll be some game tape analysis of that, and Clarko's going to slap a few people in the head. So, yeah, that'll be good. Now, this is a biased North Melbourne fans' perspective, but also I think this was actually pretty true. The bounce of the ball just went their way. And every 50-50 contest went to them. The ball bounced on a right angle so many times and fell to Hawks players. I don't know. It was one of those days the footy gods were not with us. They've been with us the first 2 weeks, and I think they were like, nah, you can do it on your own now. And it bounced the Hawks' way. It really, really did. Just a few bad bounces to get them open. 50-50 contests not going our way. It was just one of those unlucky days, really. But the way the Hawks did really dominate us was their uncontested marks. Go back and have a look at the uncontested marking stats, guys. It's unreal. I think they like doubled our uncontested marks. They were just chipping that thing around. I thought, look, they can chip it around all they want. It depends how they move it forwards. But they could move it forwards by chipping short. And I think we were playing a real zone defense, and then they'd sort of chip it forward, send a quick ball into space, and they'd have players sort of dropping into the gaps in our zone and taking marks. They didn't have a forward, really. I mean, Bruce was there. Is it Bruce or Gunston? I don't know. I get those guys confused, but I think it was Bruce. Bruce, other than that, they didn't really have a forward that I knew his name. And they just seemed to be able to take marks with the ball sort of going into the pockets of space we left in our zone. So, yeah, tighten that up, guys. But if Griffin Logue's out next week and no Ben Mackay, good luck with that. We're lucky the Hawks couldn't kick. They kicked so many points, and they should have got so many more goals. We could have got buried. We didn't, and we did fight back and come back, but I don't know if it should have been that close. They had plenty of chances they didn't take advantage of. And the Hawks were just so much cleaner with the ball. All those 50-50 balls they did win with their skills. They were picking the ball up. They were firing a quicker handball off than us. Their skills were better on the day. Once again, it was very David Noble-esque type. And I don't want to trash David Noble too much, but, you know, we all saw what they dished up last year. And, it was very 2022 style North with our skills being poor. But they're the positives and negatives, guys. I rattled through those a bit quicker than normal. I know we don't have anyone here from the Close to a Flag squad, but yeah, I just thought I'd rattle those off pretty quickly and get through those. But do you reckon that's fair? If you guys think I said anything that's not fair, please message me and let me know, because I need to know if I'm being biased or overreactionary or anything like that. You guys need to help me here, because I'm a passionate North fan. Do I get caught up in the emotion? Absolutely. I'm only human. But now a lighter note, we're going to get to the Sean Atlee Club Champ votes. Now, I know this is what you guys all stick around for, because my football opinion clearly is God tier. One vote I'm giving to Cunnington this week. I thought it was really good. It was pretty classic Cunnington, gold standard Cunnington, so many times in the middle. He's as strong as he's ever been, and he looks pretty good. So him, Simpkin, and LDU in the middle would have been pretty nice against the Hawks, and I reckon that probably was the difference on the day, to be honest. So Cunnington gets 1. My guy Griffin Logue gets 2. You know I love Logue. Intercept marks, he's holding it back down there at the moment. Spoils, just second efforts as well. But I love what he does. We just didn't have anybody like that last year. And I just think he's so important to what we do. He's such a good contested mark. It's brilliant. I love it. And 3 votes to Sheasel. Quite a first half, like I said before, but I don't know. He grew into the game, and he was the spark, I think, that, you know, gave us the momentum to be able to get back into the game. He really, you know, showed his class. And yeah, he helped us get back into the game. So Sheasel gets 3 votes. And to update you on the leaderboard, we've got LDU with 4 votes. Actually, no, Sheasel's at the top now. Sorry, Sheasel with 6 votes. LDU with 4, Logue with 4, Larky with 3 votes, and Cunnington's got 1 vote. So the Big Shees is leading the Sean Atlee Club Champ votes for the Further North podcast so far in 2023. Pretty exciting stuff. I mean, can you blame me? How good's Shees, though? Really? Okay, viewer questions, viewer thoughts time. Thank you so much for everybody who wrote in on Facebook and Instagram. I love the contribution. So let's get to it, guys. We're going to hit the Instagram sort of comments first. We've got Juzzy Street. Fantastic name. Just bottom team versus another bottom team. Don't look too much into it. Yeah, are we a bottom team? I mean, yeah, we probably are, I guess, but we've played pretty well. But, you know, you're right. I mean, look, North and Hawthorn are both down. Should be, by the end of the year, down the bottom half of the table, let's say, to be optimistic. You're right. But it was a pretty clean game. I didn't think the skills or anything were down, but yeah, no, you're totally right. Maybe we were getting a little bit too carried away with North. I know I was for sure. We've got Jared Andrew. Disappointing, but good reality check for us that we have a long way to go. Yeah, I can see that. I agree. You know, there are positives there, like getting back into the contest, but you're right. Let's not get carried away. And that's why we all thought it was a danger game, right? We were like, 2 wins, they're going to get cocky, they're going to go in for the first time as favourites. And, you know, we were all pretty worried, and it came true. So, yeah, I agree with that. We've got Brighton_Ilis. Yeah, sorry if I butchered that. Anyway, disappointing loss. With Simpkin and LDU back, we can look forward to the reply on Good Friday and win. Yes, well, Griffin Logue being out makes me skeptical on that, but we can get our clearance game going. Those 2 are going to be absolutely massive. They're our 2 best players, arguably, with Shizu and Larky and Mackay, I'd say, when he's in. But we know LDU is the best player on this team, so we need him back. We've got Blake's_family under adventures. I remember you from last week. Seemed like the last 2 games in the heat might have got to them. Yeah, for sure. The outs wasn't helpful. Yeah, absolutely. Once again, LDU out is massive. I wonder what toll it does take, because people always go, oh, they've got to go all the way over to the west. I mean, really, you just sit on a plane for a few hours. But do we all believe that the road trips are all really taxing, that much taxing on their bodies that it actually affects them? I really don't know. A part of me goes, yeah, Western Australia all the way to Tassie. Wow. But you just sit on a plane. But look, I'm no sports scientist. But thank you for that, Blake's Family Adventures. Max underscore BT23. Trying not to think about the loss. Looking forward to next week when we smash the Blues. Geez, I love your confidence. I think you're right, though. We need to just chalk this as a loss, toss it in the bin, and move on to next week, just like all the footy players say in their very boring interviews. But glad to see you're pumped for the Blues game. Hopefully everyone gets down to that game too. We got Ben underscore Cheney. 18-year-old, third game. Shees was our best. Everyone else needs to take a long, hard look at themselves. I can agree with that to a degree. I mean, Shees being the guy to stand up in his third ever game. Yeah, for sure. The other guys need to be on that sort of level. There was good players there. I mean, Cunnington and Goldie did what they do. I thought Logue was very good, as we know. Zerha was in and out of the game, but that's the sort of player that I would be looking to step up. Paul Curtis as well, maybe needed to do a bit. If we had 22 Sheeses, we'd be all right, wouldn't we? We've got... a second one from Ben. LDU and Simpkin out should have been an opportunity for others to step up. They didn't. Yes and no. I mean, you're right. I think overall they didn't step up, but I think it's good experience maybe for someone like Phillips in the middle who hasn't got much time, and Zerha's only played a few games in the middle as well. So, yes, they didn't step up, but does that mean they never will? I'd say no. Next comment from Victory Demands Dedication. Fantastic inspiration. Looked tired and I think outcoached. I think we did look a bit tired. We did have the momentum even halfway through the fourth, which is, sort of where we do drop off. And, outcoached. I think you have to say yes, but I'd still rather have Clarkson as my coach than Sam Mitchell. Mike Pozulivan. Sorry, mate, I butchered that. But anyway, if we had LDU and Simpkin, we win the game. Effort was there, but execution not. Mike, I agree. I actually think we would have won that game. Clearances are our specialty. We had our two best clearance players or midfielders out. I reckon that would have made the difference, but here we are. Reese Brook says, it was good to see that we can play 4 quarters. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think we did drop off. We sort of got back, and I think the fourth quarter fight back shows our fitness is improving. And I'd say we did play the majority of 4 quarters, but they did sort of run it out to, what did we lose by 19 in the end, once we did get it back to 3. So a late drop off, but later than weeks gone by. So I guess we take that as a positive. James underscore Trotter 99. We played like Noble was back in the coach's box. The trip from Perth definitely hurt as well. Yep, I've said that. We did play like Noble was there. All respect to David Noble, but totally right. And if the trips do affect players that much, then I'll take that as an excuse for sure. T.Thomas6 says, effort was down in Q1. Yeah, 100%. We were poor the first half, I thought. But change in plan from the Hawks and the loss of players was what got us going. I think I know what you mean. The first half to me was very, very poor. And the game plan that the Hawks came in with looked pretty different to their first couple of weeks. So it probably caught us off guard. The change in the players, I thought when Darcy Tucker came on, he made a decent impact as well. So we'll talk about some ins and outs for next week after all the questions. Michael underscore Water. We did well getting it back within a kick. Yeah, for sure. We still have a long way to go, though. Absolutely. We got to remember we're still rebuilding. If we finish even around 12th this year, I'd be pretty happy in the grand scheme of things. I think we just got cocky because we won the first 2. But no, totally right. And a return questioner again from last week, the name I remember butchering, Giddies Tockman. I think that was better. Let me know, Giddies Tockman, if that's right. Just give LDU the Brownlow right now. His impact on our team is insane. Yep, I agree. LDU gets 3 votes for this game, even though he didn't play, because we know he's that good. We love LDU. Give him the 3 votes. Let's stop messing around here. If we're not going to win anything else this year, we may as well win the Brownlow. Okay, Facebook questions now, guys. Thank you, Instagrammers. Facebook, Marcus Gatt, great win against Southport. I think that was the VFL game, right? Yeah, good to see those guys win. I think Aaron Hall played well. Wardlaw played well. From all reports, Lockie Young played all right, even though he does seem like he's sort of on the outer at the moment. Good to get a win for those guys, and good that Wardlaw's getting his reps. Shane Seamer. Still a lot of work to do, but you can't be disappointed with the fight back, with LDU and Simca missing too. Just a small hiccup for North Flagburn. Couldn't agree more, Shane. Yeah, I think we do win that with LDU and Simpkin as well. And North Flagburn, yeah, for sure. That'll catch on. Glyn Lavender, a return again. The destabilising out of LDU before the game left a young midfield feeling pressured to have to fill his shoes rather than play their own game. Our forwards failed to adapt to the Hawks' short chip/mark game and should have pressed further up the ground to reduce the space the Hawks could work in. Yeah, I agree. Comben is slowly starting to hold the marks, and his kicking, which is normally very accurate, will start to settle, and he won't miss the easy shots as he did yesterday. He will start to slot 2 goals a game regularly, and that's all we need from him in his first full year. I couldn't agree more with that. Remember Larkey's first 5 games? Yeah, I hated Nick Larkey when he first came to North. That's one that I regret deeply. I did say to my mates, who's this beanpole that we've just recruited? He sounds like Suv Larkey, let's bin him off, but he's obviously a superstar. It just has to come together. Turner, again, was manic, and he really should have had 2 on the board himself. Will Phil maybe showed why he hasn't been in the side for the first 2 rounds with only 16 possessions. 36 between him and Powell, barely covered what LDU has been doing early days. This is a long comment. Thank you, though. No blame on them. They're young and learning, but we can't expect them to step up and replace a guy that's taken 4 years to start to produce regularly. Shiza was our highest possession getter with only 26, and this shows just how many of our players were below par on the day. I do agree with that. It is negative to say, but I do agree. 2 games in 30-plus degrees and a flight west may have more impact than we thought. It was at the VFL game. I was at the VFL game, and there was not a lot of players demanding selection here. Hall had a fair bit of the ball, but not a lot of impact. Okay, interesting. Ford and Lazaro were busy, but is there a place for either of them in the seniors? Wardlaw was busy, but first quarter, the ball seemed to be on the opposite side of the pack where he was. However, when he did get his hands on the ball, his hands were electric. I can't remember the last time I saw such fast, clean, accurate handballs under extreme pressure. Get him fit and get him in, I say. Thank you for that novel of a comment, Glenn. But yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. Thank you for the VFL insight too, because I wasn't able to go to the game, but I would love to get down at some point this year. Let's get Wardlaw in. The next comment actually ties into this, so I'll read it now. Aaron Giggins, how good was Wardlaw? Yeah, by all reports, Wardlaw was fantastic. I don't think he's ready yet. I wouldn't be bringing him in against Carlton. Maybe a slightly easier game, but yeah, for sure. We need another guy in there. And if Wardlaw was there and had played since the start of the year, maybe we could have coped. Justin Smith says, I listened on the radio. Sounded like we allowed them to control the ball too much and our entries inside 50 reverted to last year's tactics. Yes, I did touch on that before. They were rebounding our inside 50 attempts and just running up the other end and locking it in themselves. So, yeah, it did feel a lot like last year. Jess Stevenson, if we played this game in the past few years, we would have got blown away after half-time. As disappointing as the loss is, we managed to claw our way back into the game and managed to even bring it to under a goal. This is something we have not been able to do in the past. Absolutely agree 100%, Jess. Also, Daniel Howe, Jesse Stevenson? Sorry, my bad. Also, Daniel Howe out and Darcy Tucker in. Saw enough in the small amount of game time he had to convince me he's part of the squad. Go room. Up the room, guys. Yeah. We'll talk about ins and outs soon, but I think I might have a pretty similar analysis. And the last comment here is Paul Broadbent. Learning to adapt and be flexible is massive, which was forced upon the group yesterday. And that was Hawks grand final, it seems. Yeah, I'll take that. That makes me feel better. You made me laugh there, Paul. Thank you. So they were up and about. Now I'm off to watch our bunnies, or Freo versus West Coast, as some people call it. Thank you for that comment, Paul. I'm glad that was the last comment because I needed that laugh. Yeah, we own Western Australia and we will for the whole season. So, look, we've always got that in the bank. Really quickly, I'll get to a couple of 5-star reviews. Thank you for all those questions as well, guys. Remember, Further North Pod on Instagram and Further North Podcast on Facebook. Every week I'll ask for your questions and you can leave them all there. So if you don't follow, please do. And 5-star reviews on Apple time. If you haven't left a 5-star review on Apple, please do. It helps the show up in the ratings and gets seen so much more. And if you do leave a 5-star review, I'll read out your review as well. So we got a few this week. Best Ruse pod out there from Shinboner22. Thank you so much, mate. Amazing content and conversations, and is definitely a must listen for any diehard Roos fan. Keep it up, Josh. Mate, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully the discussion goes all right. I'm just rambling by myself today, but for some reason you guys listen to me. Finally, some content for the fans by ZXD386. For years have wanted a space to discuss and dissect the great club without a one-eyed fan lens. Yeah, am I a one-eyed fan? I think I'm pretty one-eyed, but I do try and keep it as unbiased as humanly possible. Love the content and unbiased approach. Definitely see this growing amongst the Roo community to become a staple alongside the North Melbourne Close to a Flag boys for diehard shin bones support. Yeah, thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that. I'm so glad you guys love listening to it. I do want to bring an unbiased approach, but I also want to be incredibly biased because the Shinboner community needs to stick together. And how good are the North Melbourne Close to a Flag guys on the podcast? I love them. So we'll get them back on very, very soon. And the last 5-star review is BOG Podcast from Tash Star 75. Loving this podcast. Josh, you're doing great work and are really easy to listen to. Thank you. Good fun content that is finally a voice for us North supporters. I'm loving it each week and love when you get the Close to a Flag guests on as well. Keep it up. 3 votes. Looks like I'm the LDU of podcasting right now, guys, because I also got 3 votes. Thank you so much for that. That means a lot. And to the Close to a Flag guys too. I'm sure they'll be listening and I'll talk to them soon and let them know you said that. But yeah, love it, guys. Thank you so much. I can't express enough without getting all soppy and emotional. I do really appreciate it. All right, so we're going to do a quick preview. Good Friday game, prime time for us. We originated this, but we're pretty lucky to have kept that game over the last 3 years. We're playing the Blues this year, who are up and about. They did only beat the Giants by 10 points, but this season's been a bit like that so far. A couple of changes for the game that I would make. Now, Griffin Logue with his 1-match ban, I think the club should appeal it, and he shouldn't even have had a suspension for that, but he's probably getting suspended knowing the match review panel. I guess you bring in Callan Dawson. I don't think we have another option. Mackay's not going to be ready, so I'd probably bring in Dawson if Logue does get suspended. And I did want this guy in last week, but Hall needs to come in for Howe. Howe is not good. Look, I liked seeing him get the jumper, and by all reports, he's a great, clubman. But, I would be a great clubman, but also not a good footballer. He got 22 disposals, Howe. So, look, and in the third quarter, I think he made a little bit of an impact. But once again, just fumbling the ball at key moments and his turnovers leading to goals. So, bring Aaron Hall in for Howe and bring Dawson in if Logue does get suspended. Other than that, that's probably all the changes I'd make. What's that I hear you say? I don't want Kane Turner to be dropped? No, you're totally right. I think Kane Turner had his best game on the weekend. I know some of you Kane Turner stans have been saying to me, I don't know anything about football because I've wanted Kane Turner out the first couple of weeks. But I think he played all right. And someone, I can't remember the name, but someone did leave a comment before saying he could have had 2 goals. And absolutely he could have. So Kane Turner stays in for me. Remember this podcast, guys, because that doesn't happen very often. But no, Kane played well. And yeah, he holds his spot. Can we win? Realistically, I don't think so. Like, we can win, but Griffin Logue being out is massive. I thought Aiden Corr played pretty well as well. I've not been Aiden Corr's biggest fan in the last couple of years, but he's been pretty good this year. Can he hold it down himself? God, no. Griffin Logue is a must. No Mackay. It's going to be rough, guys, especially with 2 unreal forwards, and it's the definitely the toughest forward line we're going to come up against with. Well, I guess maybe it's Ben Mackay, who knows? But Mackay and Curnow, look, with our two best defenders out, and they have two of the better forwards in the league, I don't feel good about it. But crazier things have happened, and I did say that there's no chance we're beating Fremantle. So please, everyone, get to the game. Like, even if we do get touched up in this game, we need to get a big support to this game. It's Friday. It's Good Friday. You got literally nothing else to do. There was nothing open. Get down to the footy and support North Melbourne. Once again, stay tuned to the North Melbourne Closer to a Flag Facebook page and my Facebook and Instagram, because if there is any tickets and information surrounding the possibility of a Bay 29 happening again, we will let you know as soon as we know. But we want that support to grow, and we want to show people that North can get a good crowd to a big game. So this is the time to do it, and this is the time to stick it to all those people who keep trashing our club. So please get down there. But yeah, can we win? Maybe. Will we? Probably not. But like I said, the Freo thing. That's basically it for this week, guys. I don't have much more. A little bit quicker of a podcast than last week. But one thing I have started to do is, I don't know if you guys saw on Facebook and Instagram, but we're doing a lesser known player of the week, basically. So this week's lesser known player of the week, to sign off today, do you guys remember Shannon Watt? Drafted in 97, played to 2009, I think, if that's correct. Yeah. Shannon Watt, what a defender. I wouldn't want to get in his way. I did post this, and a couple of people did comment on the Shannon Watt post. So Basler Celebic, whichever one that is, sorry, mate. Unfortunately, all I can associate Shannon Watt with is Fraser Gehrig and the dozens of goals kicked on him. Now, let's not trash big Shannon Watt. I actually liked watching him play, but yeah, I get the Fraser Gehrig comparison. And I think the big G train did touch him up a couple of times. And Natasha Burns says, well, there's a forgettable blast from the past. Now, guys, no trashing Shannon Watt, like I said before, but you're right. He maybe not the most well-known North defender, but what an interesting period of time that he played in. I'm going to do this every week. Every week I'm going to post on Instagram and Facebook about maybe a forgotten player or a slightly lesser known player from North Melbourne's past. I want you guys to comment what your memories of these players are, and I'm going to read them out again because I think it's a bit of fun to get nostalgic. When someone said the name Shannon Watt to me, I hadn't heard that in so long, and it sent me down a fantastic nostalgic path. So hopefully hearing Shannon Watt's name again has done that to you too. So I'm going to say it again, Shannon Watt. Hopefully that sticks with you. Thank you so much, guys, for listening again. You've blown the podcast up in the last week, and I really, really appreciate it. Tell your mates, any North fans you know, shove it into their eyes and get it into their stomachs because they need to consume this media. Facebook, Instagram, thank you so much. Follow, subscribe, all that stuff that you guys don't care about and don't want to hear. I'll be back next week. Get to the Good Friday game. Stay tuned for the announcements from North Melbourne Close to a Flag and myself. And yeah, remember, guys, Shannon Watt.
Thanks for listening to the Further North podcast. We'll be back next week with more great North chat. See you then, Bruce fans.